And it is one story today, a tragic one at that. That is coming out of inner city Johannesburg. 64 people have lost their lives, and it is as a direct cause of the fire that has happened here in inner city Johannesburg. It is the only story of the day that is dominating headlines, and we're coming to you live from inner city Johannesburg. In fact, we're going to go straight into that conversation because with me right now is the MEC of Health in Gauteng, Nomantu Nkomo-Ralehoko. MEC, thank you very much for your time. A tragic situation that has occurred here. What can you tell us about the processes that are going to unfold from here on?
It is a tragedy indeed, and we are very saddened by the environment that we find ourselves in. But we can't just cry then and throw our hands in the air. As the Department of Health, what we have done already, the teams were here very early in the morning. The emergency services and the team from the pathological services. As you can see, I'm standing with the CEOs of both units that are responsible for assisting the families here. So we've taken most of those that are injured to Helen Joseph. We've activated Helen Joseph Hospital, and already we have about 14, the number that is there at the hospital, and the doctors are busy with them. After this, I will move there so that I can see the environment there. But once Helen Joseph is full, we're going to activate Southern Hospital because it's one of the hospitals that are close by that we will need to make sure that. But the CEO is even ready at Southern for those minor injuries that will push to them. Then, but what we're doing again, the CEO of the forensic pathology, they have activated Deep Kloof. We're going to take all those people that are demised to Deep Kloof. Team there is ready. There are doctors on site because immediately when they arrive, doctors must be busy with them so that when we put them decently so. But where we are unable to identify some of the bodies, we have our digital fingerprints that we are going to utilize to identify those. We can't see who is this one. But again, we are going to take, in an extreme situation, we are going to take families and do DNA tests with those families. But both sides, we are making sure that everybody is ready that is supposed to do that work. Emergencies, they are still here, as you can see. They are still busy inside trying to check so that, because we need to be sure that we don't leave anybody inside here.
Yeah. MEC, thank you very much for that. I'm going to ask you to just move to my right-hand side, and let's bring in the CEO of Forensic Pathology Services in Johannesburg. And CEO, the name is Thembalethu Mpahlaza. Mr. Mpahlaza, a situation like this one, so the MEC has already given us some detail as to where the bodies of the deceased are going to be taken. Just, are you able to describe the condition of those bodies, where some of the people burnt beyond recognition, or was it in the main smoke inhalation that people succumbed to?
That is what we are going to attend to now from here, because remember now all those bodies are covered from the EMS team. So soon we reach the Deep Kloof facility, then the doctors, the pathologists, which is one of them is already here at the scene, will be able to examine those bodies and confirm the severity of the injuries in those bodies.
Have you seen anything like this before? 64 people dying at one go, and are your facilities able to handle this amount of bodies?
This number, yeah, is quite huge. In my experience, I've been in the Western Cape for some years, had some disasters, buses, 32 people, 34 people, one in Eastern Cape, in Dujwa, Okajana, that killed 32 people, but 60 something. Yeah, it's something huge, but obvious. We have to make sure that what needs to be done is done. So our team is ready on the ground. We are dispatching our disaster truck, which is able to carry 23 bodies, which will be accompanied by another 9 vehicles to come and collect the bodies to Deep Kloof.
So those bodies are still within the vicinity, is that what you are telling us?
Yes, the scene investigations are still taking place. There should be photographers from the South African police that have to be involved in this whole process. Once they are done with that, then the bodies will be handed over to forensic pathology.
All right. CEO of Pathology Services in the Gauteng province. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you to stand aside once again, sir. Let's bring in now the CEO of Emergency Services. CEO, you'll have to give me your name because I don't see a name badge and surname indeed. But as you do that, just talk to us about what time did this incident, or what time did your people start responding to this incident, and what could have been the cause of the fire?
Thank you. I'm Colony Rakia, the operations manager for Gauteng EMS. We've got the call just after 2 o'clock. Our team, we sent about 7 ambulances, 2 response cars, 2 managers, 2 rescue vehicles, a transporter, because the initial scene information that we did get was there was multiple patients where they said that patients were actually jumping off the building. That's a report we got when we got the call.
And did you find that indeed that people were jumping outside through the windows?
No, when we got here we found patients that were outside and some patients that were still being brought out by the fire department. They were already on scene. The fire was in full force. They were busy extricating the fire when we got here. We were seeing to the most critical. There was 3 critical patients on scene that we transported to Charlotte Masheke at Johannesburg Academic Hospital. The less critical, there was made up of what we call, those critical were the P1s. The less critical was the P2s, which was 14. That's a less life-threatening, and the ones that are not life-threatening, not too serious, was about 34. So out of that mixture of 34 and 14, we transported to Helen Joseph Hospital, South Rand Hospital, Tembisa, Hillbrow Clinic, and Batakoa Hospital.
Yeah. CEO, let's talk about why it is that so many people lost their lives at one go. What is it about this building that could not allow them to escape?
We're not sure exactly, but maybe the fire department will tell us more, because when we arrived on scene, we only seen that there was one exit for the people. So we're not sure whether the other exits were not available, but that could have been because it's query smoke inhalation from outside that we see on most of the victims. But I think when they do whichever forensic and does their investigations, they'll reveal the true cause of what actually happened here today.
And it's interesting that you're saying that most of the victims died as a result of smoke inhalation. You have had sight of at least the majority of the bodies. Were any of those people sadly caught in the fire and burnt beyond recognition, perhaps?
Yes, definitely. There was quite a lot of them that were burnt beyond recognition. And I think when forensic does their investigation, they will reveal all of that, what exactly happened there.
CEO, were there fire suppressing mechanisms inside this building? Simply put, were there pipes that were able to put out this fire if people perhaps needed to assist themselves, or was none of that existent?
I think that's a question for the fire department. They have their fire safety teams that normally conduct inspections on buildings. I don't think it would be for Gauteng Emergency Medical Services. Thank you.
And the owner of the building, were you able?
I think the city of Joburg will also answer that one. Yeah. We don't know anything about the owner.
All right. CEO, let's thank you very much. CEO of Emergency Services.